on, good people? Armand Owens here once again with another episode of the Daily Unsung Leader. And today, I'm going to talk about if you only could focus on just one thing as a leader. Just one thing. If you were being thrust into a leadership position and you're coming from the doing level, now you are the overseer, you are the supervisor, you are the chief, and you don't have a lot of time to prepare, for the breadth of what's coming. If you could only work on just one thing, what would that one thing be? What's going to give you the most bang for your buck as a leader? Well, it's one thing, just one, and it's this. So a few months ago, as I'm walking into my kitchen, my kids, they absolutely love Legos. Absolutely love Legos. We have so many Lego sets, in the house. And as a parent, I think you probably know where I'm going here. So my daughters didn't clean up the floor, and so I go into the living room on the way into the kitchen, and I step on a Lego. And I am upset about that thing because, man, if you've ever stepped on a Lego, I think you know what I'm talking about here. But and I'm going in the kitchen trying to make me some breakfast, and I'm still frustrated because they didn't clean up after themselves. And so I grab the milk, I grab the cereal, and I go and make my bowl of cereal. And after that whole thing, that event, eat my cereal, go on with my day. About lunchtime, my daughter comes in and she's about to make her lunch, and she yells out, "Hey, Dad, who put the milk in the pantry?" So what? Dad, who did you? Because you're the only one that made cereal. So that you put the milk in the pantry. You put the milk in the pantry. It's like, yeah, I did. But it was because of your Legos that I stepped on that compromised me. So if there's one thing that I will say that all leaders must work on first and foremost, it's how you perform when you're emotionally compromised. Because I know everybody knows good and doggone well the milk doesn't go in the pantry, but guess what? When we are emotionally compromised, the stupid is released. The dumbest things come to the surface when we are emotionally compromised. How many bad decisions have you made out of anger, out of frustration, out of apathy, out of indifference? Because you're over this thing that have happened, or this sets of things that have occurred. You're over it. I can't deal with this anymore. And now your decisions are issuing out of that posture, out of that place. What's the likelihood of making the right decision in those moments? Right? But this is how very, very smart, competent, capable individuals who know the right answer, who are extremely talented, make the wrong decisions. And guess what? That's kind of how it happens. It's just we're emotionally compromised, and our decisions are now being made by our emotions for us. Not our logical processing, not our competent, smart, high-level thinking prefrontal cortex. That's not making the decisions. That's where we want our decisions to be issuing from our logical, reasonable minds. But now, because we're emotionally compromised, we're making some decisions that are clouded at best, by our emotions. When I talk to my sailors and when we have discussions about making the right decision, we talk about destructive decision-making patterns. One of the things I let them know is that our emotional processing moves at the speed of about 5G, right? Our emotional processing is like this. Something happens, boom, and we respond to that thing. We react to that thing. Not giving ourselves enough buffer, enough time for our logical processing to catch up. Because our logical processing moves at the speed of about dial-up. You ever had those moments where you've done something in your emotions, and then a few minutes later, you had that, oh, why did I do that? Right? That's when your logical processing has finally caught up to your emotional processing. That's already responded, already taken care of it. And now you're having this hindsight moment. And it's like, why did I just do that? Why did I just make that decision? Why did I just put myself in that scenario? But that's how our emotions, while important for the survival of humanity, but that's how it gets us in trouble. 9 times out of 10, the areas of fault, the areas of difficulty, the things that you are going to mess up as a leader are going to be directly proportional to your ability to handle and control and manage your emotions. That's just the truth. So many of my peers as Master Chiefs, as commanders, as captains, all very smart and capable individuals, they wind up at the top left corner of the Navy Times because they've been fired because they're emotionally compromised, because they've allowed something to happen where their emotions made decisions for them, where their logical minds, had they taken enough time for themselves to step back from the scenario, breathe, and think about this thing, and think about the possible consequences, have now compromised their entire careers. So your brilliance, your intellect, while important, and it's important to focus on the competence portion of your job. It is absolutely vital. But if there's one thing that if everything else was unavailable for you to work on, you have to work on your ability to master your emotions. You have to, because that's how you're going to get fired. That's how you're going to get fired. Somebody challenges your authority, you get in your feelings, your ego starts talking to you, and you respond, you lash out and say something that you know you shouldn't have said. Or you do something that you know you shouldn't have done. You become captivated and you become imprisoned by the emotions of the moment, and that will compromise the trajectory of your leadership career. You better know it. So how do you prepare? How do you master your emotions? Well, first of all, you got to be self-aware. There has to be a level of self-awareness about, if I look at myself in the mirror and truly be honest with myself, what are my greatest weaknesses? And for me, that was, my temper. My temper, used to be 0 to 100 like this. Multiple negative interactions as a result of my temper early on in my career. So I knew that's something that I definitely had to work on. And there's 2 things that I utilize to this day that help me manage my emotions, and that's meditation and visualization. Meditation in the sense that, I take time for myself, purposeful, intentional time to think about the full expanse of my responsibilities. What are all the possible things, that could happen under my watch? And I think about those things, and I respond in my mind to those things in my head. So I prepare myself emotionally, I prepare myself physically, I prepare myself mentally for what can possibly come. I used to believe that the time that I spent away from doing work took away from my ability to get things done. But over the course of my career, I found out that the times that I've taken to step back, assess the situation from a higher plane, from a place of no stress, from a place of freedom almost, to really assess things, that made me more of a capable leader, because I was able to attack things with a better perspective. So that's what meditation has done for me, and visualization goes right along with that, where I visualize and respond in my mind, to just some of the craziest situations that I've heard others deal with, and things that I've dealt with myself. Because there's things I've dealt with early on in my career that I didn't handle so well. But life is funny in that you're going to repeat those lessons until you master them. So if there is a lesson that I didn't quite master early on, I know that it's going to show up again in life, because that's how life works. So how can I better respond to that situation? When somebody challenges me, when somebody, comes at me and challenges my integrity on some things, there's very little things that get me riled up than that. But one of the things I've been able to, that's been able to help is through visualization, take the other person's perspective and see where they're coming from, and give them the benefit of the doubt in how they're approaching, because they're upset, they're compromised by their emotions. If I understand that somebody else is compromised emotionally, guess what? I have to resist the urge of allow my emotions to compromise me, because two emotionally compromised people are just two dumb people that are on their way to a fight. It may not be a physical fight, but it's going to be a fight. Just is what it is. And nothing good is going to come from that. So in an effort to break that cycle, I have to resist the urge to allow my emotions to compromise me. Being aware of what's going on. Being aware, okay, this person is emotionally compromised. I'm not going to jump into that pool with them. I'm not going to jump into that situation with them. I'm going to keep my sound mind, and any darts that come my way, I can be kind of, ready for those things, right? On the balls of my feet, so to speak, like the good shortstop, ready for that quick hit to come. And ready to respond, to be resilient, in those moments. So I think about what is the worst case scenario that can come. And I visualize that. I think about that. And how will I respond? I get my emotions involved. I try to put myself in as vicarious of situations that I can, so that I'm ready. Does it work all the time? Am I always ready? No. Right? Because that's what being human is about. But it's a practice. It's a muscle. It's a skill. Through perspective taking, through visualization, through meditation, you can learn to control your emotions and not put yourself in a situation where you're compromised, where it can be detrimental to the trajectory of your career, to the trajectory of your life, and put yourself in a situation that if you just step back for a minute, take a breath, think about it, that could have been the difference between the end of a career and the continuing, of a promising career. So if there's only one thing that I believe that the leader, if there's only one thing that you can work on, it's managing and being able to control your emotions. And when I talk about, for me, that visualization and meditation and perspective taking, that may not work for you. But it's something that has worked for me, on my path of, almost 24 years, worth of leadership. So, hey, I appreciate some of the feedback that's coming to the channel. As you can see, I try to upgrade a little bit. So give me your feedback. Leave in the comments. What do you think? All right, how have you been emotionally compromised? And just know that I told you that lesson is going to come back around. All right. So tell me your stories. Let me know how you have been able to handle your emotions, or if you need help, because I'm always here. Reach out, let me know, like, share, comment, all those things. Hey, it's always wonderful doing these, and it's going to keep on coming every Friday. Happy Friday. I'm Son Leader out. Peace.